Hi everyone, welcome to Youth Fluent with ANISAH RAHMAN, a new dynamic youth talk show that allows young people to have a say on an enormous variety of issues, including health, politics, community, education, etc. Today's episode is on food insecurity, a complex and multifaceted issue that affects millions of young people and families in the UK as well as worldwide. Food insecurity is not having access to a sufficient quantity of nutritious, affordable food. Today, I am honoured to introduce you to two youth leaders that I work with from a charity called Bite Back 2030, and together we campaign and push for a healthier food system. How are we both today, Zoe and Sophie?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
That's great. So I guess first off, I just want to start off and ask is, why are you both so passionate about food insecurity? You know, why do you think this is a problem that we actually need to address? So Zoe, do you want to start off?
Yeah, I think it's a problem we need to address, as so many people in the UK are suffering. Over 8 million people rely on some sort of help from the government or food banks. I mean, we need to support them in problems that are facing, including food insecurity. The food system is not as the best at the moment due to COVID-19. That's why we need to give it a step up.
That's great. And what about you, Sophie?
I personally, it's 2020 and there's been we're so developed as a world, a country or whatever. So I feel like the fact there's still people struggling with one of the most basic needs is just something we need to address quickly.
It's great that you're both so passionate about actually trying to tackle an issue at hand that affects millions of children and young people every day. So I guess I just want to ask you is, how do you think we can both actually tackle this issue at hand? So do you guys have any strategies in mind that you think are central to allowing children and young people to actually have access to enough, good nutritious food?
So I think we need to open more food banks. There's been so much pressure put on the food banks during this current moment, and that, do you know, the Trustwell, the organisation for the food bank, they've been put under so much pressure, and that not enough people have been able to get enough food. I mean, it's affecting more people every day, and that's why the government should be there to help, and people should be able to ask for help if they need it and not feel ashamed about asking for it.
No, yeah, that's completely right. I totally get you. What about you, Sophie?
Yeah, I think personally we should definitely start within schools and the education around it, because I feel like it's kind of one of them things where it's pushed to the side and it's not really faced head on, sorry. So I feel like it's obviously there's a lot of thing around the news in the minute about free school meals and stuff. I feel like that sort of scheme needs to be expanded further so it reaches more kids and it just helps more than just it is now, expand the support it gives.
Yeah. So I've heard really two great suggestions here, actually opening up more food banks and then actually having education. So I guess I just wanted to know is, how do you think we can actually achieve those two aims? So how can we open up more food banks? Whose responsibility is it actually, Zoe? What can we do as young people to actually help?
So I think we need the help from the government, but we also need the help from the community. I mean, it's all right saying, oh, we're going to ask the government for all this, but what support are we going to get it? Are we going to have organisations to help provide the food for the food banks? We need to think that through. Where are we going to have it? I think we should open more centres, but where we can create more of a charity place where people don't feel ashamed about coming and not making it a stigma or shame surrounded in the community, if you get what I mean.
Oh yeah, totally, because there is a complete stigma attached to it, and I guess it is trying to break down that stigma. We do have to actually use that as a first step. And you, Sophie, you mentioned about educating people. So how can we actually create this effective education in schools actually? How can we maybe educate school children on free school meals, maybe actually addressing and actually maybe tackling the stigma that actually Zoe mentioned as well?
Definitely. Obviously, I think the go-to answer would definitely be the government, because that's the person, not the person, sorry, the thing that's in charge of everything that happens. So obviously that's start, but I feel like just as young people we need to be able to be taught more of just an more open conversation about it, because I feel like the less things are spoken about, the more embarrassed people feel about it. So if we speak about things like this more, just on like a more small, like even something as little as a little conversation with friends, like that's gonna give so many people the confidence to feel more comfortable and be able to ask for help when they need it.
No, that's actually great. And actually, you both mentioned that you think that the responsibility lies in the government actually to be able to actually tackle this issue at hand. So I know that you guys are all aware, but Marcus Rashford did recently launch a campaign and task force to actually in an aim to end food poverty. And his ask to the government included expanding free school meals to every young person from a household on universal credit or equivalent. I know that he's also trying to increase the value of Healthy Start vouchers, which help pregnant women and actually parents with children under 5 actually, I guess, prosper and thrive and actually buy those healthy essentials for their growth. But I guess I'm just wondering, do you think that these asks to the government will be effective, and how?
I think they will be effective because because families need it. It's not saying it's like something we should have because it's good. It's a necessity. Food's a necessity. We can't go without it. And I think the pressure of COVID-19, more people should be able to ask for help for it, because there should be no shame around it, because it's something that we need, food, because if we didn't have it, then we wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, completely. So do you think actually those Healthy Start vouchers, for example, maybe actually making sure that children as young as 5 and and below actually having those vouchers, do you think it would really make a big difference in those lives?
Yeah. I mean, I received the free school meals vouchers and they help my family. So I think children under 5 need them as well, because they're still growing. They still need, even children who receive, those is it baby food? It's really expensive actually to get like ones that are good for you. So yeah, definitely.
And what about you? What about you, Sophie? So do you think actually that his asks to the government were actually effective? Do you think they'll be able to actually make a difference and change that we want as young people?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like something like vouchers is stuff. I feel like it's less embarrassing than, for example, having to go to like a food, like there's a lot of stigma around going to food banks. So if the vouchers are there, people are more likely to use them, and if people are more likely to use them, that means more people are going to benefit from it. And kids as young as 5 need it. Like nutrition is so important for development. So like the younger they start giving out help, the better, in my opinion.
Actually, you both touched on a really important topic as well, free school meals. So I think it'd be really great to know, what does being on free school meals actually look like in general? So, we go to school, how does it actually look like? So, Zoe?
So what it looks like, now we have an amazing system where we have fingerprint system. Nobody knows who had free school dinners and who doesn't. But in year 7 and 8, I used to get these tickets and it was so embarrassing. I used to stand in the queue, and when I took it out, everyone would look at me and make fun of me. But I think, and they would always shout names at me and call me names. But after the fingerprint system came into the school, there was a lot less shame and people were more accepting, because nobody knew who had what. Nobody knew who had free school meals. It was I think more schools should take on that method.
Definitely, yeah. I think some schools are still outdated right now, I think some schools still have those lunch cards or, whatnot.
Yeah.
But that is definitely an issue. I guess that would be one step actually into actually making sure that stigma's really gone. What about you, Sophie? So what do you think as a person yourself who is on free school meals, what do you think being on free school meal vouchers actually look like in general? It'd be great if you could.
Yeah, I feel like it's not the stigma. I feel like the stigma around it is, yeah, like the child that goes in who like maybe like oozes the aura of like, oh, I'm on free school meals, but it's actually a lot like less than you think. Like I think I had a conversation with my friends just after I left school, and like I remember I mentioned something about them. I'd been too embarrassed to mention it 5 years previous, and I remember I mentioned it, and like all of them were like, oh yeah, me too, like I've been getting the vouchers and stuff, and I was like, I just stopped for a second. I was like, why has this only been the first time I've spoke about it? Like, this is like such a natural thing, and we also had the fingerprint system, so that's why we didn't know obviously who was thingy and what, which is obviously a good thing because there's less embarrassment. But I was saying to my friends, I was just like, it's just something so little that you think such a big deal and like something to be ashamed of, but really, like, you're not the only one. Like, there's actually a high proportion, especially in like certain areas where they claim it. So yeah.
It would be actually interesting to know with free school meals. I think what's happened is in schools, the actual amount that you're issued within those vouchers or within your accounts, it could be either quite big or it could be quite small. It really varies from like different parts of the UK, I guess, and different communities and local council areas. So it'd be really great to actually know, do you actually think that the money that you guys are issued is enough? Do you think you have access to everything, really? Do you think you can still, have those wide range of options available, really? So what do you think, Zoe?
So, to be completely honest, I don't think I really get enough because I get £2.10, and yeah, that sounds like a lot of money for a school meal, but I can get with £2.10, I can get just a meal. I can't get a drink or a snack at break time, but if I wanted a drink of water, I could get a drink of water and maybe a little snack, but I really want a meal because my day's been extended by an hour for compulsory catch up for the whole of year 11. And I really need a meal that I can like feel full, because with a meal, it helps me concentrate, it makes me feel more healthier. I think it's really important to be able to get a snack and a drink with my meal. So, yeah.
No, yeah, completely. What about you, Sophie?
Yeah, I agree completely with Zoe. It's obviously I got £2.10 too, which was like amazing for like food and like dinner time. But there was always like a tradition at my school where at break time like everyone would get bacon or sausage sandwiches, what this like sold in the canteen. So like it always felt a bit like what's the word, like you felt really secluded when you were the one who sat there and was like, if I spend the money now, like that would be my dinner gone. So like you have to make like choices that other kids don't have to make, so it's quite stressful and probably really upsetting for some kids.
I honestly completely relate with you both on those, restricted set of options. I myself, I don't actually have £2.10, so I think I have £2. So it's slightly increased to £2.80, and even I can't even have a full set of meal. I actually get plain pasta, which I know sounds really weird, but I do. And actually having those thick sauces and stuff actually cost extra, something that I can't really technically afford, actually being on those vouchers as well. So it's really good to know, even with £2.10, you guys still can't even get that set of options. So, I guess, do you both think that, maybe the government or our local council should actually increase the amount issued on those free school meal vouchers? Yeah? Yeah. I guess, with lockdown as well. So as free school meal students, I guess, we'd be avoiding one vital meal of the day, really, our lunch. So I guess it'd be quite interesting to know, actually, how do you think it, I know that we had those Ed-in Red vouchers as well. So it was all online, and we would have to get our vouchers online, and we could actually change it with the different supermarkets and stuff. Did that system work for you guys? Because I know in different schools, sometimes it didn't, or sometimes the website crashed or something like that. So it'd be really great to know.
I thought it was actually really good because we got £3 a day, and I managed to get an actual meal. I actually, those meal deals that you get for £3. I got more for a day than I do at school, because with my £3 I can get a sandwich, a packet of crisps, and a drink. So I thought it was actually really good value for money, and I think if the school did something like that where we got like £3 for a meal, where we got like a drink and like a snack and like a meal or a sandwich or something, I think that would be a better way to solve the problem in schools.
Yeah. And what about you, Sophie?
Yeah, I definitely think them vouchers that we got during COVID were really good. Obviously, they had the few technical issues that a lot of people were speaking about, how like obviously some of them weren't working or some of them weren't coming through or whatever. But that aside, I feel like there's something that should be brought in a more mandatory thing, because I feel like they exclude the holidays, like school holidays, in all of this. Like, what about the 6 weeks off? Like, are kids just not like allowed to have them like such a like an important meal? So I feel like that's something that should be brought forward to be more often, like not just during a pandemic. Kids should be able to eat all the time, not just when it feels like it's really important.
Yeah, honestly, those vouchers, I think, even I'm even getting from both of you. Those vouchers were a much more better alternative. Having £3, as as you were saying as well, Zoe and Sophie, like having that £3, actually choosing what you want as well, having that control is such an important thing that I think as free school meal students that we don't get. We don't get that option. We don't get that choice really, which is a really bad thing, I guess, as well. So I guess you both were touching on holiday hunger. How, because we've never actually ever addressed it before until this year, we're 2020. So how do you think we can actually start tackling holiday hunger? So, I know that I remember the government also mentioning something about maybe doing it within schools, getting kids to actually come to school physically to have those meals. So I don't know, what do you guys think about that as an alternative to those vouchers?
So the holiday hunger, I think we should still have the vouchers because you're in the holiday, it's a time to spend with family. I mean, don't get me wrong, school's great for education, but in the holidays, whilst everyone's going home and enjoying being with your friends and family, you're having to go into school and have a meal with people you don't really know in a way. And I
Yeah.
think we should embrace the vouchers more going on to the future.
Yes.
Definitely.
And what about you, Sophie?
Yeah, definitely, I agree with Zoe. I think the voucher should be something that's brought forward because fair enough, getting meals within school would be like a good for the kids who like really need it. But I personally think that with the stigma around it, like I don't think many children would actually go in and access it because it's different. Like a cashier at like a supermarket saying like a voucher once that you're probably never going to see them again. But going into school, so like where you might see people on the way, or you might see like teachers, like a lot of kids will just be too embarrassed, which is wrong, but it's just how it is. So yeah, I don't think that would work as effectively as the vouchers would.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess what else is really like interesting as well, because we have like lots of different ideas about the holiday hunger and I guess how we can address it. With the voucher system, would you rather have the vouchers, in school? How would that work? Would it be something you can use in your local shop, or would it be something that you could, actually use online? How would you prefer this voucher scheme to work if we were to implement it in schools?
So I think it's actually quite difficult depending on where you live because you might not live near a supermarket or your school might not be based near one. And if you're having to get to school for a certain time and you have to get off a bus, or if you're going with if your parents are dropping off, or guardians, or whoever you live with, it's going to create a lot of fuss. But if schools offered more options, like that are more healthier and you got more for your money, then it would be better. Because to be honest, I would rather have a meal deal from a shop, but at the same time, I don't want to be fussing around in the morning when I want to get ready for a lesson.
Yeah. You want to add anything, Sophie?
Yeah, I think Zoe hit the nail on the head, really. Like, that's it, 1,000,000% what I think. I feel like you've got to also think about the fact that a lot of families may not have, like, cars, or they might work long hours, etc. So, I don't think maybe having to spend it yourself may become a little bit of an inconvenience during school hours. But, yeah, they should definitely think about changing the options within school and the allowance.
It's really good that you both have already been underlining the quality of the fact that we need nutritious food. We can't just be given any random set of options or any random sort of food, really. We have to really pay attention to the fact that is this good quality food? Is this nutritious? Is this healthy? Is this actually enabling us to, grow and prosper, I guess? So, I'm just really interested in the fact that, because, do you guys actually like the set of options that you are given? Do you think they're quite healthy? Do you think they're nutritious, really? And if not, then what can we do to, I guess, give that sort of healthy, nutritious food, really?
So I think there should be more options made available. I mean, we've got like little things we can get, but they're not the nicest meals. If I mean, every school is the same. I have friends who go to different schools and they've all said that, oh, the school dinners aren't nice. And I mean, yeah, I got to agree in a way because they're not tasty really, and you only get a few options. And I really want a meal I can enjoy. If I'm not going to enjoy it, then I'm not going to really eat all of it.
No, yeah, definitely. And what about you, Sophie?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like although for like that useful in a way, because like I feel like a lot of with my school dinners personally, I feel like the hot lunches were always like something no one would really go for, just purely because of the fact that they're usually messy. Or like it's a bit inconvenient when you get older to like walk over to your lunch table with like a hot meal, like a Sunday dinner type of thing. So I feel like they really need to like expand on the more not snacks, more like cold lunch and stuff like that, like fruit, maybe something like that. Because I remember mine, it was if you didn't want the hot dinner, it was a square bar and a bag of Doritos, like, and that's just not like it's not nutritious. It's not going to give the kids the energy they need to carry on with their day. Like a bag of Doritos isn't going to be enough.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested, Sophie. So they actually offer a bag of Doritos. That's quite. I know it varies from different schools as well. So like, would you say that actually the options they completely offer are quite healthy and nutritious, or?
I remember they went through a stage of like where like I think something must have been going on in the news or something where like everything went healthy, so it was all like hot meals and everything, and like the vending machines at school, they were all like potato, like not potato, sorry, vegetable crisps and stuff like that. But then it kind of, as soon as like the hype dies down, it goes back to Doritos, square bars, gingerbread men, all this malarkey, which although is good when you're like in year seven and the hype's about secondary school's kind of there and you run over and get a square bar. But like realistically, I feel like kids shouldn't like. Although it's nice, the options shouldn't be there because the kids are gonna pick it. It's the easiest, quickest. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it needs to change.
And I guess now the next thing I want to ask about, because we are focusing on food insecurity actually. So, when we are thinking about what we actually buy outside of school as well, in generally, do you feel that you've actually had to, you know, do you feel like you've had to actually reduce like how much you have to buy, if you know what I mean? Like, maybe not go for the best quality food that's available out there. Maybe actually think, oh, you know what, my options are not as great. Maybe I should go for something a bit more of a lower cost. So do you favor price over quality really?
So I think quantity and quality, I think the cheaper brands in some cases are better. I mean, if you're going to get like tin tomatoes or something, I think they're like completely the same as the branded ones. Like brand, I mean, most of the foods in a tin or package, they're normally the same thing. It's just different companies put a different label on it to exaggerate the importance of it and to attract customers. I think I think we should be looking at promoting the cheaper versions, and making it a bit more fancy, like if making the advertising better, so it doesn't look like it's bad or anything. Because I know loads of people are like, oh, well, this one must be better because of the advertising. But I think sometimes I think vegetables are good to spend out on because the quality's better, but it's more expensive. I don't know if you've noticed, but fruit and vegetable is more expensive than like microwave meals and like
Completely.
burgers and stuff. So yeah.
Even the same with fast food. I've even seen it. Sometimes I'm like to myself, am I really going to pay for a salad when I could get a burger for cheaper, really? Like, no, I completely understand where you're coming from. What about you, Sophie? Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's always completely right again. About all the like the branding and stuff. It's kind of more of like it doesn't really matter. And I feel like there was a lot of times in school where like though you would sit with like maybe like Aldi little foods and you'd kind of like hide it. You'd be like, oh, so like I feel like there's a lot of like stigma around that as well about like what sort of food you think, which is so stupid because it's still food at the end of the day. Like it shouldn't matter whether it's got a Walker's label or a Lidl label. Like it's still the same thing at the end of the day. But I feel like that's another thing that people are fooled by. But yeah, definitely throughout the years I've had to like shop around, find stuff that's just more value for money, and sometimes you do have to go for quantity sometimes, which isn't like always great. You might have to go for like the 20 pack of chicken nuggets over like the pack of vegetables, but that's just how it is when the prices don't equal out.
Yeah. And I guess the last thing I just want to ask for both of you is how as young people can we actually take action? What can we all do individually, I guess, to play our part and actually, address this issue, and I guess maybe even, actually reduce the impact of this issue. What do you guys both have?
So I think young people can get involved, but they don't know how. But I think if I use some ideas like writing letters to your council, to your supermarkets, like asking them if they can move things around, or giving like options to students in secondary school as well, and then also writing to schools to try and get their ideas on like promoting healthier food around the supermarket, educating students with things that they're going to listen to. I think also getting involved with campaigns in your local areas, or if you want, create your own campaign, and always get in contact with people who could help you, like organisations like Bite Back. They will help you. If you give them a message, then they'll get onto it. So yeah.
Yeah. And you, Sophie?
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I would say to stop. Maybe if you don't want to go the full whack and like be like do like join campaigns and stuff, maybe just start something as small as just being a little bit more considerate while on the topic. Like, I know that sounds stupid because it's like, well, that's not going to help anything, but to like an individual or someone who's going through it, something as little as just maybe not making like maybe little jokes, or just being more kind to people around you, and like realizing that not everyone was born into like everything doesn't go as planned as for different people. And if you want to go on more of a larger scale, obviously I would definitely say write accounts, as Zoe said. Get involved, just spread the word. Like, we've all got social media, we're all lucky in the sense that there's so much like information out there, and I feel like you just need to share it. And even if only one person sees it and thinks, oh, like, I didn't know that, that's one more person you've educated that wouldn't have if you hadn't shared that. Sorry.
No, that's amazing. Thank you to both of you for actually being on here and actually speaking about your experiences and your opinions and thoughts. Just so vital and actually inspiring other young people to actually follow this movement. So I guess just to end things off, what I want to just say is, you've heard it here today. It's a real issue, food insecurity, and an issue that we as all young people can address in so many different ways. Whether it's going full out, I guess, writing the petitions, actually signing those petitions, sending those around, writing those letters and everything like that, or even as simple as, speaking to someone, actually sharing your thoughts on social media. So, we are very lucky in that way. But another issue is, we've recognized that there are different issues with holiday hunger, that provision. We need more clarity from the government as well on how we're going to actually start addressing that now, because this year we've seen it's worked. Food vouchers, are we going to be having this every half term, or are we going to be having this every summer holiday? Because it's not an issue that was just made for 2020, it's an issue that was made for all certain years. I mean, it's been happening, it's a long-standing issue, that's been existing for a long period of time. I guess as well, we've heard today free school meals. We need to think about actually increasing the amount that we actually issue to young people who are on free school meals. How can we actually, make sure that they are able to make the choice and have the option to choose what they want? And, think about actually making sure they have their meal that they actually want and that they actually enjoy. Thank you to Zoe and Sophie for joining us today and actually speaking about their thoughts and experiences in food insecurity. I'm honestly really grateful, and I know that you'll be inspiring lots of other young people to join this movement. And I just want to say a big thank you to all the viewers who are watching here today and actually listening to all three of us speak today. We're honestly very grateful for your time, and do tune in if you enjoy shows like this, and to actually listen to more thoughts and opinions from other dynamic young people on important issues including politics, community, education, etc. Please do feed in your suggestions if you have any topics you would like me to cover. That's it for today. Thank you.